So the meat and poultry processing grant that we were just talking about, our collaborator from Micronesia asked me, hey, Dr. Liu, can we add some aquaculture to it? So we want to process fish and crab.
Welcome to MeatsPad. In collaboration with the American Meat Science Association, it's a platform dedicated to share breakthrough knowledge that is accessible to the global meat industry. On each episode, you'll have the opportunity to listen and learn from meat specialists and professionals about the whole meat industry. This podcast is brought to you by the U.S. Meat Export Federation, Ultrasource, equipment and supplies for the meat and food industry, Viscofan Collagen Casings, the best alternative to animal gut casings for a better taste and sustainable sausage making.
Hello, me folks. Welcome back to the MeatsPad podcast. We continue our RMC series here in Oklahoma City, and I'm very glad that I got to meet for the first time one of the folks that I interviewed maybe over a year ago and via Zoom. But I think we were talking about how important it is, the interaction, to see everyone back here face to face. Dr. Jeng-Hung from the University of Guam, welcome to MeatsPad.
Well, thank you for having me here, Francisco. It is really nice to be back at RMC, and even nicer to see all these wonderful faces. Truly, meat science industry or our association is like a family to me, and being able to come back and immerse in this wonderful atmosphere, and then seeing all the people that I used to know, and then faces that I've only seen on pictures or screen, and now finally in person, it means a lot to me. Thanks for having me here.
And a brand new dad, right?
Yes, and a brand new dad. So life is busy, and it has been different ever since. But the work doesn't change though, and I'm really glad to be here. So yeah, thanks.
So you were telling me that your last RMC was back in 2018. Which I think was in Texas? No, not Texas. Kansas City, perhaps?
I can't necessarily remember where it was. It might have been Kansas City. I could be wrong though. I'll be honest. Memories are starting to blur a little bit here and there as things goes on. I can't really give you that much updates or information or details about 2018.
And that's fine. And I think that the last time that we spoke was via Zoom, and we were we visited about some of the challenges and opportunities that you had, or there still are existing opportunities back in Guam. But I think today I wanted to also give some of the good news and some of the solutions, so to speak, that are going on, and I think we can start from there. I tell us a little bit about the grant you obtained and the new things that are going to occur in the near future.
Okay, well, thank you. First, I was very lucky to be able to obtain a USDA meat and poultry processing grant. So within this grant, we propose to so the title of our grant is going to be Workforce Development in Meat and Poultry Processing in the Western region. So even though in the Western region, of course over here I mean Guam, but also we have collaborators from the FSM, which is the Federal State of Micronesia, and our collaborator is College of Micronesia. And then also, of course, next would be University of Puerto Rico, which has been a very big support. So within the three institutions, we propose an undergraduate certificate, which kind of builds up the foundation for anyone that is interested in being in the meat and poultry processing industry. So we will have animal science class, meat science class, and then food safety class, and then last would be an ag econ or a business management class. So these are what we identify as the more foundation that would be important for people that want to venture down this industry or this career pathway. And then we are also using this grant money to build up our meat lab over here on Guam, which in my idea, or in my view, is such a big thing because in the past, in our last podcast, we did mention about how Guam has been pushing for a USDA inspected slaughterhouse forever. But due to our size, our production cost, it was suggested that it was not financially feasible. But now, doing the same thing, but on a more educational standpoint, this allows us to give more flexibility. And because of my position in extension, I could also allow to bring this to the public and then share this resource to the public, and without really being so pondered by, how do we make it financially work, because we use it under the umbrella of education and extension. So I think this would be a very big first step to slowly bring Guam to a point where, we could get livestock producers, having faith and seeing changes and being more participated or being more active in this industry. Yeah.
I really admire what you do because it's not easy. I mean, especially we're talking about becoming a jack of all trades. You have to know even about aquaculture and even about, I mean, you were telling me you don't want to look dumb, but so you never stop learning. And especially in those situations that I can relate really on this what you're saying, like in some populations and in some areas there's not a lot of resources, and we spoke about this, and I think they see you as someone that they can really trust, they can really believe in what they say, and those corners of the world, I think you are the meat scientist, right? So
yes,
everyone have any question will go to you.
Yes.
And I think that takes a lot of courage and a lot of responsibility. Maybe we can talk about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So and I really do get a lot on my plate. So for example, when we talk about aquaculture, not only the extension side, time to time people ask me questions related to that, but also I get people. So the meat and poultry processing grant that we were just talking about, our collaborator from Micronesia asked me, "Hey, Dr. Liu, can we add some aquaculture to it? So we want to process fish and crab." So, to me, it's definitely something new. I mean, I know how to fillet a fish and those kind of stuff, but on a kitchen base, right? But to bring that up into a course, we're talking about food safety. We're talking about I don't know if there's exactly a HACCP plan. I assume there has to be. So there's a lot of learning, and I think that's what's also so nice about positions like this. It took me a while to really embrace it. At first, I have a very strong identity. I want to do meat, and before that, I only wanted to do pork, and now it's fish, crab. It's it's nice to know a little bit of everything, and that's almost exactly why I came back to RMC as well, because I could never know exactly all the questions they're throwing at me. But I know, in RMC, I definitely have the opportunity to make collaboration, find the actual experts in that field, and potentially, bring them on here to Guam to help solve a lot of the challenges or a lot of the issues that we're facing.
Since 1883, Ultrasource has been a trusted supplier to the food industry. Ultrasource provides superior kill floor, processing, packaging, and labeling equipment and operational supplies.
And it's funny you mentioned that because you kind of go back to the fundamentals, right? I mean, you can claim meat is meat. I mean, even if it's fish. But I think it's good to have that multidisciplinary, you will, facet in your career because you learn a lot, and I really that's what I'm saying. Like I admire you because what you have to face and what you have to deal with, you have the courage to continue to do so. So you were talking about some of the opportunities or the challenges and how you are gradually overcoming some of those. What tell me a little bit about the other research or other project that you're working on to kind of.
Okay, yeah. So since we've talked, I had 3 grants in total. One was the workforce development that I just mentioned. Another one is a grant that I'm currently working on is, of course, coming back to my roots, is pork quality assessment. But I'm comparing feral swine hog meat quality versus domestic pork quality. So in Guam, we have a lot of these wild feral swine, and even though we have USDA Wildlife Service that helps with capturing and to help with the residential, capturing these hogs, we don't seem to be able to catch up with the hogs' reproduction. And I think a lot of it relates to how much green coverage we have on Guam. It makes it really hard for us to be more active in capturing these hogs. They just hide in the jungle area where, we can't take advantage of drones or other technology to exactly sort them out. So they have the time to reproduce and to really catch up on population. And for the longest time, one of the biggest debate is, well, if USDA are already capturing these pigs, why can't we use them for human food? And again, there are a lot of reasoning behind that. But I think in general, it all comes back to we don't have the facility, we don't have the data baseline to even know if this is good for human consumption. So first of all, I'm doing the pork quality assessment. But with the MPP that we're building up, I hope to see one day, maybe in the near future, where people are more willing or more interested in utilizing these pigs and having the channel, the knowledge, and then the know-how to turn it into a reliable resource rather than just a harassment or a pest management kind of deal. And then the third grant that I did work on is a Western SARE grant, which we started promoting about animal welfare, heat stress, and other basic fundamentals such as nutrition and then just data management. So we brought experts from North Dakota State Universities, one of the coldest places to talk about heat stress, but which was kind of ironic. But in the end, we had really good conversations, and I'm really glad that to see the livestock producers, I can't say that they fully embrace the full idea, right? Because in order to address these challenges, it's more cost on their side, it's more investments on their side, but at least they're willing to learn about it. They're willing to see what are the minimal they can do to alleviate, the majority of the heat stress. And it's glad to see that there are still a lot of livestock producers, even though right now they're kind of in the scale of backdoor farming, but I'm sure with their willingness to learn about modern industry, maybe they'll see a time where they pick up enough and they want to bring the scale up a little bit more where they could use it as a financial resource or income actually. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, those are real life. I mean, we're talking about the pig management or I don't want to call it pest management, but it kind of is, right? I mean, that's
feral swine. Yes.
But it is a real life issue,
mm-hmm.
and you have to come up with science-based project to solve that. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting, and I really. That's why I wanted to sit down with you, and so that other folks can know, and is a very good example. And you're mentioning not only in Guam, you have other folks in Puerto Rico, and I'm sure with Dr. Dominic, Kathy, I said my regards to Kathy and all the team in Puerto Rico. I mean, it's those things you don't get to see until you're there, and sometimes you don't. I mean, as we mentioned, we don't see here in the U.S. some of those issues until you talk to the farmers and to the livestock producers, and they need solutions.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes, I just wish there's more of me or people coming in so we can solve more, because a lot of these issues they seem so fundamental and so easily addressed at some point, right? Because a lot of the issues they're dealing is probably 50, 60 years before what U.S. or maybe even earlier than that. So to some, it would seem like, oh, you can address that so easily. But I wish there were more people to help and solve these kind of issues. And I'm really glad that I'm having the opportunity to expose these kind of conditions that this might not only be Guam, but also other territories such as Puerto Rico, and the same issues in Hawaii. I was just at a small meeting with a lot of the PIs from Insular Institution, and it's insane how even though our geographically we're so different, Guam, Hawaii, and then Puerto Rico, we're kind of all islands on close to the equator, but some are way closer to United States, some are further, and then we also have Alaska in our meeting, and it's interesting to see how we are facing very similar issues. Even though climate-wise Alaska doesn't seem to connect with any of us, but the challenges and even sometimes culturally the similarity or bonding, they have actually quite a bit of interaction with Hawaii, which it's hard to link the two together, and it's nice to have the opportunity to share with the world or our industry, that these are what we're facing, and there are a lot of people that are trying to make a difference, not only just me, but also the people in the stakeholders, all the other educators on Guam, and everyone. So.
And it's one of those things that me and Dr. Bass were discussing about how the meat industry helps, and they easily communicate with each other. I mean, you be an industry leader, you be in academia, you can be in USDA, FSIS, and this platform, RMC, really helps to promote and facilitate those conversations. And I really thank you, because I've been helping you quite a bit. We've been going back and forth on some of the equipment needs, because that's another story, right? How if you becoming or building something from scratch, you need kind of a guidance on some of the equipment available and depending on the production. But I thank you for your trust, and we'll continue to work and go from there.
Yes, I really look forward to building the industry in Guam, because it is something that everyone keeps talking about, and especially in our last podcast, of course, I mentioned how prosperous it once was, and to see it really right now, it is so deprived, even though it is such a necessity for the people or the residents over there. So I really wish to see that being brought back, and so people could at least have good protein sources. So thank you.
The future of meat.
Yes,
meat
exactly.
in the diet. Meat the future.
Yes.
Go meat.
Meat. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Thank you again for your time, and we'll see you soon.
Yes, thanks for having me.